I'm Nathan, welcome to the Armory. So, a question many of you have out there is, why should you help a person like me and future generations make sure that we get to keep this sort of weaponry? You know, you're sitting there, you're saying, well, I don't have an assault weapon, so what do I care if they ban them? You know, who needs those things? And that's a valid point, because that's your perception. And I understand that completely, and I respect that. The only problem is you have to understand the people that I currently am dealing with, and the fact that they are going to come after you at some point. And you're like, oh, you're paranoid and all that. Well, maybe I am, but let me give you a few ideas that I have out there. So the first thing they want to do is they want to ban all these nasty assault weapons that are used in about 1% of crimes across the United States. And once they ban all those successfully, they're gonna just wait in the wings like they were this last time, and then somebody's gonna go and shoot some people with some handguns. And then they're gonna start the process all over again. And they're gonna keep rolling over this process again and again until they pretty much convince everyone, or at least the vast majority, that weapons aren't needed and they just make us not safe. Okay, so they're done getting rid of all the guns, and maybe you don't own guns, maybe you don't think anyone should own guns. That's great. Okay, so now, something else they might do, they might look at some statistics and say, well, you know, a lot of people are drowning, a lot of kids are drowning in these pools in people's backyards. And they're drowning so much that if it could even just save one life, I don't think we should let anyone have pools in their backyard. And you know, we're going to grandfather all you people that have pools, and you can keep your pools if you already have them, but no new pools. And if you sell your house, you got to fill it in with cement. And then people are like, oh, well, that's going to drop my resale value, all that. And they said, it's for the sake of the children. If we can save one child from drowning, no pools in the backyard. Okay. So maybe you out there, maybe you don't got a pool, so what do you care? No skin off your teeth. All right, so after they get done with that, they're going to look and say, well, you know, a lot of these people, they're getting drunk and driving their cars. And you're like, oh, what do I care? I don't get drunk and drive my car. But then they say, you know, we're going to make it to where every new car that's made, you got to blow in that little tube to make sure you're sober before it'll start. So now the next thing you know, you buy a new car and you got to blow in a stupid tube because some other guy got drunk sometime in the past and you're blowing in tubes. But guess what? You're helping to save lives because you're blowing in a tube every time you start your car. All right, that's great. All right, well, then the next thing that's going to happen is some people are going to be, you know, driving too fast, so they're going to have to stick governors on all the cars. I mean, why should you have a car that goes over 100 miles an hour? There's no speed limits that are 100 miles an hour. We're going to govern all the cars at the federally mandated speed limit as their top speed. And they'll get to choose that. So maybe it'll be 65, maybe it'll be 70, maybe it'll be 55, because they're the federal government and they can pass whatever speed they want to. Doesn't matter what the states think. You know, they can govern these cars the way they feel like. And of course, all you people who have your old cars, you can keep driving them, you know, until they break. And then you have to buy a new one, which most people have to do every so often. And, you know, after they put those on you, you know, some more people who aren't going fast are going to be getting in wrecks. And they're going to sit there and they're going to say, well, you know, it's these cell phones. It's these people today texting while they drive and talking on the phone and not paying attention. They're already trying to do legislation against cell phones. So they're going to be like, well, we paid bills in the past where they said you can't do it, and that's ineffective. So we're going to make all the cell phone manufacturers, they're going to have to come out with technology to where if you're moving in a vehicle, that phone will not send or receive a message or a phone call while you're moving. And once you get to where you're going, you'll have to be still a certain amount of time before that phone will reactivate. But if the cell towers pick you going up more than 20 miles an hour, then they know you're in a moving vehicle and they're going to turn that cell phone off automatically. They're going to have sensors built in to do that. All right, is this getting a little closer to home? I mean, I know a lot of you have cell phones and like to talk on your phones while you drive. Is this affecting anyone out there yet? All right, so then the same sort of people, after they get done with the cell phones and the cars and the guns and all that jazz, well, they're going to get bored and not have anything to do. So they're going to really be sitting around trying to look for things to do, and technology is going to improve and they're going to get new options, and they're going to start coming out and saying, well, you know, people are going around saying mean things to each other and it's upsetting people and they shouldn't be allowed to do that. So how can we stop that? We can't really control what people say, but guess what? We have technology to where we can put devices around in public places that will detect people speaking. Everyone will be registered with their voices to know who they are. And if they say any bad words or start to yell at someone, well, we'll record that and then we'll fine them appropriately. And we'll call that the Verbal Morality Act. And we'll get to fine them and raise money for the government because all these people be going around saying things they shouldn't. And because they're in public, they don't have a right to say that to other people. So we can control what they say in public by fining them. And you're like, oh, dude, that is hilarious, Nathan. You're just making up stuff now. Oh, am I? Well, I don't know. Is there anything else that they put out to give us tickets now? Oh, yeah, those red light cameras that are in all the intersections around where I live. And if I run a red light, it takes a picture of my license plate and they send me a bill. So don't ever think you're safe. If the government can get away with it and make money off it, they're probably going to do it. So right now they don't have the technology to catch all our voices, but they are going to have that someday. Our technology is improving all the time, and so are recording devices everywhere. We already have a camera. You can't go anywhere in a city without getting caught on some type of a surveillance camera somewhere that they can patch into, from what I've seen in the movies and on TV. But anyway, they can get in and they can monitor you pretty much anywhere you go via satellite and other cameras and other things. So it's just a matter of time before they get sound hooked up to that already camera equipment that they already have watching everyone day and night. If they want to watch you, they'll just make it to where it watches everyone, because they can do that. Because who's going to stop them? I mean, nobody has any guns anymore, so who's going to stand up to them and say you shouldn't do this, that breaks the First Amendment? I mean, without the Second Amendment, how could we possibly ever think to keep the First? So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you think about some things. And if you like it, please share it with a friend and get it out there. So thank you, and God bless America, and long live the Republic.